Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eileen Briley. I'm the social worker with the Integrated Health Network, and Jane has asked me to talk to you about a heart attack that I had on May 27th of this year. No, not this year, last year. I'm not really sure where to start. I know that I was never expected to have a heart attack. My physician had certified me as being no risk for heart attacks. I didn't have hypertension, I didn't have high cholesterol, I was in good shape. I was attending yoga classes, 90 minutes, 4 nights a week. I thought I was healthy. And then on the morning of May 27th, I had the heart attack while I was at work here, actually. So retrospectively, I think I need to share with you that there are signs of heart attacks that I think we women don't pay any attention to. I didn't really have too much in the way of symptomology, but I do recall that I was extremely fatigued months before I had this heart attack, and of course I just, like all women, we just put it down to our work or our busy schedules. I do recall saying to the staff here that I was actually too tired to go on a cruise, so I was really, really tired. A week before I had a heart attack, in retrospect, I had the most intense gastroesophageal reflux that I've ever had. I remember making mention of that to my husband. And I did notice that when I walked up the hill on Victoria Road here, probably a few weeks before I had the heart attack, I had to stop several times because I was so winded, and I always prided myself in being in such good shape. But the walk up the hill obviously proved to me that I wasn't in good shape. I never did complain about any of these symptoms to my physician. Like all women, I think we sort of put those symptoms aside. And if I were to say anything to women, I would say listen to your body, pay attention to it. Having said that, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, to go to your doctor and tell your doctor that you're tired or you have indigestion. There's always the implication that the doctor may not fully understand the symptoms. And I think the symptoms of women and women's heart attacks are much more complex than men. Men apparently have symptomology like pain in the arm or pain in the chest, and a little bit more stronger, more identifiable symptoms than we have. Anyway, so the story goes that I was at a meeting with our nurse Donna in mental health, and I recall that morning I didn't quite feel myself, but it was Monday morning, so I just put it up to that. After the meeting, Donna and I decided to stop by Perkins for a coffee just before we came back to work. And I recall walking into Perkins and feeling nauseated as soon as I walked in. I thought that was unusual, but again, I thought that's just because I'm hungry. I tried to make a decision about what muffin I would have. That was unusual for me because I usually know what I like. And so I held up the lineup a little bit, trying to make a decision about a muffin, and I finally did get my muffin and my coffee and went to sit down at the table, and Donna joined me. And suddenly I had just a sort of a stab in my back, and I mentioned that to Donna and said that I felt that maybe I just torqued myself in the meeting somehow and felt that it would go away. However, it didn't go away, it grew and grew, and it started to feel like a truck was running over my spine. It was that intense. Donna then wanted me to go down to, first of all, to the medical arts. Actually, I think she did want me to go to the hospital first, and I said no, because I really didn't feel that I was warranted in going to the hospital because I had a pain in my back. And but the tension in my back grew, and then I suddenly started to have pain in my throat and in my jaw, and I couldn't breathe, and I was sweating, and I knew that something was really wrong, but I still believed that maybe I had slipped a disc or something. Heart did not enter my mind. Anyway, Donna took me to the emergency. It happened to be one of those mornings, one of those garbage truck mornings where every garbage truck in town came out in front of us, so that slowed us down a bit, and I really started to be really, really fearful. I was highly anxious because the pain was building, and I was really, really scared. However, we did make it to the hospital, and it did take some time before I was diagnosed with having a heart attack. And I stayed in the hospital overnight, and lots of testing was done, and I was supposed to be observed in the hospital. However, 2 days later I ended up with having another heart attack lying in bed that morning, so I was rushed to Victoria, and a stent was put in the big artery in my heart. So I just want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that it does happen to the best of us. Surprise, surprise, I'm only 67 and thought I was in shape, and I don't know, it's a life-changing event, very much so. I've decided to retire early from work based on the recommendations of my cardiologists, and I think it's probably time for me to do that. I know that I will be listening to my body more often. Maybe I'm listening to it too often now. That often happens after heart attack. But anyway, I really want to probably spend the rest of my life spreading the word about how important it is for women to report symptoms to their doctors and to advocate for themselves, really. The research shows that men who have heart attacks are treated much more quickly than women do, and our symptoms just simply don't look the same, and so I think the doctors sometimes are confused. So that's my story, and I'm happy to be here. And now that I know that I have a problem, I'll be working on my health even harder to maintain my space on this planet. Thank you for listening.